Yeah, I look at the reset like healing the past, and the rising is almost like your journey forward for the future. Like you're trying to find your
Love
path,
that,
right?
yeah.
And I came in much the same, where I was like, I don't know. I guess I'm going to find my next step. That's what I was saying to myself. I'm going to find out my next step. I have no idea. And I found it, but I didn't, how would I know? I just thought I was going to go along and, I was doing pretty good coming into this, the rising when I did it. And man, I found it. It was-
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I'm your host, Tim Matthews, with two incredible guests, Mr. Magoo and The Gift. That sounds like a little comedy sketch, Mr. Magoo and The Gift.
It's been a little bit like that this last week.
So, what I think it'd be good to dive into. So I'm really curious from your perspective, Andrew, what it's been like for you volunteering at this. I mean, I just want to say from the get-go, you've been incredible.
Thank you, brother.
You have really contributed to making this rising a huge success. Obviously, we've heard the feedback from the guys. The guys are raving about it. The incredible work that you did with the contribution committee, getting the Dirty Dozen to donate the other mules and side-by-sides, that just made the event so much better. And then the work you've done in the kitchen for the men, for the coaches, the insights you've provided in the coaches huddle. I could go on. And selfishly, I've loved spending time with you. It's been great to spend, 10 days or so?
It's great to spend time with you too. I mean, him not so much. But.
I can see where this goes. This is going.
All right, it's going to be one of those.
It is.
A lot of edits.
So yeah, anyway, I'm curious, what's it been like from your perspective? Because you've been on the other side this time, right?
Yeah.
You've been to Research, you've been to Brotherhood events, you've been to IC events, but you've never been on this side of the fence.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I don't think you realize how much work goes into it. I mean, we know you guys are busy doing things, but it's a lot of work. It's constant. And you see starting in the morning and, we're prepping food or whatever, things like that. But all the meetings, all the planning around it. And, it just, nobody thinks it goes off like this, but the amount of work, whew, it's a lot. And it's great. And, listen, I personally enjoyed the huddles and just like diving in and, listen, the planning part of it, of understanding what our tasks were for the day, everything was very organized, even though it may seem a little chaotic and sometimes, and it's just so much to do, but it was organized. And then coming up and then talking about the guys and where they need to go and who needs to be nudged. And it was phenomenal. I mean, I expected that. I wanted to be here. And then just being there in when they were in their sessions of things, I mean, the processes were just phenomenal to see on the other side of it and just watch and observe. It's just, it was awesome all around. And they went there. I mean, you know that they went there from the beginning. It was just, it was cool. Not a big surprise because the guys, the caliber of men was huge. I mean, all the guys in the group. But
so it was a real relief though, from a coaching perspective, right? Because obviously we know the process works, but how is it going to work this time? Right? Yeah. So as guys are moving through it and we're talking about them and we care so much for them, right? And, we can see the blind spots. And for me, at least, I'm always a little relieved when the event's over. I'm like, yes, we did it. Right? Because there's so much riding on it. These guys have left families, businesses, flown across the world. They're in real need of getting our love, help, and support. And it means a lot to me, right? It means a lot to you guys as well. So, yeah, once we've gotten the result, I mean, I just feel relieved, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And it's amazing as well to watch these guys come in and, we've coached with most of them for a while. And they're all on different journeys, of course. So they all arrive at different parts of their journey, going through similar processes. And so, as you said, like we never know where they might pop or what's going to affect them, what's going to work for them. But to be at the side of the event and having seen everyone shift pretty much, that's been really awesome and rewarding.
It really has. I loved last night as well, just sitting around.
That was good.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because we filmed some of the processes, right? Because we're building out the SOP for all the rest of the team, so they can take it and run with it. And it was just funny to go back and look at some of those videos with the guys and the jokes that were getting shared, the laughter. It was just, oh my God, it might have been a kid again.
You know, one of the other things I appreciated too is that Grant and I, having had gone through it, you know, when we did give some feedback and say, hey, we really thought that this was good, like you guys shifted and you just said, oh, really? Huh. And shifted the process. You weren't locked in. Nobody was locked in by ego or saying, no, this is what we're doing and that's it. It was just, oh, maybe there's a better way. And it evolved. A couple of the processes evolved. And I think for the better, it was really cool to watch that happen in real time, you know?
Yeah, it was golden, right? Having these guys who'd been through the process in the programming conversations with us, been able to say, I think you should leave that one in. You should do this. Yeah. That was really useful. Really useful.
I think you're going to probably get some feedback from the other guys too. You give them a little time to let it settle in, right? And, I mean, listen, it's at the end of the day, it's all about making it better and better, right? I had an amazing experience in my rising, but this is just going to shift just a little more and you fine tune. And you might have to fine tune for every different group you get. You know, who knows how they're going to react to it, right?
Yeah, well, we always say 80% science, 20% art, right? It's typically what it is. Because you're right. With every group, there's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
There's a different number of people. People respond differently to different processes at different times and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's one of the strengths of I think there's two key strengths that stand out to me from our coaching team in general, but specifically the team that was here. Our ability to be flexible and no ego.
Yeah.
There's no ego, right? There was no, oh, it's about me, it's my thing. Nobody had that. And, you know, we're all very experienced coaches. Between us, we must have 60 years of coaching experience. Like that's a lot of experience, and not just general coaching experience. We've got 60 years plus, probably more than 60 years, in fact, of coaching men. Yet to be in that room without any ego, and just to your point, Andrew, be in the conversation about what's best for the men and how can we best get them there, and being able to be flexible with it. That for me, well, obviously yesterday I said that was one of my magic moments, right? It really was. It's just magical. It's a great environment to be in.
Yeah, and another thing that, you know, the delegation of who's running what process, you know, you could have said, all right, well, Mark, you got this one, maybe Mark Smith, Mark Hainsworth, or throw it to Arthur. And they didn't know they were running it, and each one brings a different energy. You know, all the coaches are excellent, and they're in different ways how they handle things. So it was really cool to see someone just not know they were running the process and step in and boom, knock it out the park, you know? It was awesome, you know? Yeah, you too, Arthur.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. Yeah. And it's amazing to think this is just the second time we delivered it. Yeah. And how different this one, even though the processes pretty much stayed the same. Yeah, we might have moved things a little bit, but all the main processes are still the main process. But how different this one was to the first one. How much smoother, how much better the tweaking helped. And yeah, it was just a lot more fun, obviously, because we had a bigger team, and thanks to you guys as well, you know.
I keep saying I can't imagine how you guys did it last time. It's so much to do, just so much to do.
Looking back, I don't know how we did it last time. There was Doug was part of the coaching team, but he wasn't obviously here during the day because he needed to look after the kids, right? Yeah. So really there were three main people on the ground between us having to do the entire thing.
Yeah. The setup, the checking in, the coaching, the food,
programming, the logistics, everything.
And one meal.
And one meal as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the logistics of that. Wow, what a difference, right?
Oh, huge.
Pick up and drops off 5-10 minutes now. You're done, right? Whereas before, it could be an hour. I remembered, you know, once you hear the machines.
Careful what we say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's great because we've got the macro dialed in. Like, we know who this is for. It's not a revision of the alpha reset. It's definitely a step up. That's why we don't allow anybody to come into it until they've been to a reset. And really, I think not only do they have to have been to a reset, they need to have had a period of integration after the reset, 6 months, maybe 12, whatever, depends on the person, to really solidify the changes from the reset.
Yeah.
After which I think they become eligible for TAR 2.
Yeah.
I know there's ideas thrown out there that they really need to have gone to a brotherhood event as well, just for that community and, well, brotherhood. But because they've done that pre-work, essentially, and we've been working with them, and this is what came up with some of the guys in their interviews and podcasts, it then enables us to do the rising because there's a lot more subtleties and nuances to the program and the delivery that wouldn't land for somebody that hadn't gone through the TAR and so on. But it's kind of at that level, as you move up, there's levels to the game, right? As you move up, it's often the 1 degree shifts that create all the difference, right? And because we've got the macro sorted out for the event, it enables us to make these tiny calls. Well, not tiny calls because they're kind of big calls, but it enables us to make them. And although it might just be removing a process or delivering it slightly differently or whatever, it can produce an exponential result, right? Because the level at which the guys are already at, we apply the 1 degree shifts, the little pieces of magic and the artistry to it. It just puts on a completely different trajectory.
Yeah, those little tweaks they're huge. And the guys responded so well to everything. It was just...
Yeah, and they're the things you can't preempt beforehand. You know, they only come from being able to have 60, 70, 80 years combined experience working with men in the field, to know the people so well, to know the journey so well that you're able to be like, that little tweak. You can't do that beforehand. You can have an idea of the macro journey and what we want to do and all that kind of stuff and where we want to take the guys. And this is why, again, one of my magic moments, a team. But then to have the team come in without ego, with flexibility, and apply their experience and their greatness to be able to give those tweaks, it's just remarkable.
You know, another thing that was really impressive to me is how all of you coaches really know the guys. Even if you're not working with them one-on-one, it was just like hearing to go around. I'm like, well, my experience was it. I'm like, wow. You know, like you could have a guy who's in your pack who you know better than anyone else, but some other people still have feedback from maybe whether it's a brotherhood retreat or it's just being on calls or whatever it is, right? And it all blended in and added to the value of it, you know, when you were diving in and trying to figure out blind spots and things and, you know.
Yeah. I mean, look, we care about you guys. We speak a lot about you guys.
Oh, I know. I'm well aware.
But it also comes down to what we discussed during the retreat in our prep, is like being really present to the man in front of you, right? This whole thing about presence, you know, we teach it, we try and embody it to the best of our ability, but even with our experience, with all our knowledge we have, it always usually comes down to, okay, what does this guy need right now from our perspective of being in presence with him, right? You can feel the other guy, you know, you could get a better picture. So the historical information is definitely useful, but what's coming up right now, you got to be open to that so you can deal with that right now, because a lot of stuff that might have come up this week wasn't necessarily in the background, right? I mean, you know, it's not stuff that might have worked on before.
Sure.
It's new stuff, you know. So just being present to what's happening, and I mean that's a lesson to take on into life for everyone listening as well. The more present you can be, you know, without having preconceived ideas of how to respond and what to do and what to say, the more you can pick up in that moment.
Yeah. I really like watching in real time how, you know, you're working with someone, or it could be Arthur working with somebody, and all of a sudden, you know, you give the guy a minute, he says something, and then you see Hainsworth's face go, and he'll ask a question. And because, you know, everyone's got a different style and a different way to reach out. And it was just really cool watching it happen, because you all have moments of like, oh, I got this one, and off you go. And the other coach never gets upset. It's not, there's no ego in it. It's just like, oh, yeah, go with it. You have the angle now. Get it, you know?
What surprised you the most about this rising?
I just think how well it went, only based on our previous experience of the first one. You know, it just flowed beautifully. So that was amazing. I think what surprised me was a couple of the guys, the breakthroughs that they had.
Yeah, I would say just the openness from the beginning. I think they were just, if me being on the other side of it, I feel like they were 10 steps ahead of us all the time. It was like, day 0, day 1. I'm like, wow, they're doing really good, And I don't know why.
10 steps ahead of your group.
Yeah. They were just more open, and it just seemed like they were always ahead. And maybe that's just wrong. Maybe it's not right, but it felt like it. I think they were doing really, really well.
They were. I mean, every group's different, right? It's hard to say whether they're doing better or worse. Every group is very unique. It's remarkable, actually, how unique every group is, and also the serendipity in the men that get brought together.
Yeah.
Like, there's always this. It always blows my mind as the days transpire, the mirrors that start to show up between the men. Like, take the guy whose daughter who committed suicide, and then the guy who had found a plan that his daughter has made about how she was going to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And these two guys had never met before. And that's incredibly rare. Like, I'm trying to think if I've ever heard of the guys in the movement talk about their daughter having committed suicide, right? I don't think I have.
No.
And with of all the thousands of guys in the movement, to have those two people, we had 9 guys here. We keep it small. We had 9 guys. So to have 9 men out of the thousands of men that have come into the movement, to have those two here at this point in time, but at this point in time in their lives as well.
Right.
And those mirrors just kept going back and forth between every guy. It's just remarkable.
That's
They're all
exactly what they
brought
were meant to
together
be.
for a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
There's something bigger at play that's brought these guys together at this
The
point in
alignment,
time
yeah.
for a certain reason. And like, to your point, for the breakthroughs that these guys had was just remarkable.
Yeah, they needed each other to hear something that the other, and it just kept bouncing off, and boom, boom, and just it was wild. It was just.
I want to buy you a gift. Look, if your marriage is struggling, and let's be real, every marriage struggles at some point, but yours is struggling where you've lost that love, admiration, respect, I want to help you. I want to buy you a copy of the book that I wrote, A Man's Guide on How to Save Your Marriage Without Talking About It. In here, I've distilled over 8 years of programs that we've developed at TPM to help men just like you save their marriages without talking about it. There's no fluff, no BS. It's an action plan that you can start using today to actually save your marriage and bring that love and respect back into your family, back into your house. You deserve it. Look, all I ask is you pay the postage, you pay the shipping, I'll buy the book for you. That way you can take massive action today. Click the link or find it in the bio and get your copy now.
To your point, how well it flowed, I think not to steal your point, but that's the thing that really stands out to me. Just the processes, the coaching, the journey the guys went on. It was, some guys were a little bit more challenging. That's okay. It's to be expected. But overall, the journey that the guys went through and how seamless it was to get them to the end result was just, it was beautiful.
And also the fact that, and I guess it's part of that point, we had so little things go wrong. Everything went according to plan, right? There were things that went awry, as you would expect doing something the first time. We dealt with it at that time pretty well, I thought, given the circumstances. But this time there wasn't anything major.
Yeah, I think having more hands on deck definitely helped, and that's probably a tough thing, but maybe going forward you have to try to get 2 volunteers,
Yeah, I think the first one, there was so much still to set up and to logistically to sort out when we arrived. I think getting that first one under the belt was a big win in hindsight, looking back. It just meant we were so much more prepared, and the lessons that we learned from the first one and the improvements that we could make. And to your point, you were in the first one, and the first one, I think, delivered a really good result.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, I wouldn't know, and I've said that before. The things that you said, little mistakes or whatever that you hadn't planned for, we didn't know. We had no idea on our side of it, So that's kind of cool because
it's incredible, right? Because as we continue to improve and to iterate,
It's exciting where it's going to get to. Because I think even after this one, we got to make improvements. We already discussed stuff that we saw that we can make it better. So
that's the lesson in life, right?
Yeah.
Don't
That
let
was
good
another
be the
thing that
enemy of great, right?
Yeah.
Every night, at the end of the day, we'd sit down
wins and
with the
improvements.
wins,
I love
the
that.
improvements.
I love that.
And we still take solace from the wins.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrate the wins. We let the wins land. And how can we improve? So we're not living in the gap with it,
Right.
looking at ourselves from a place of criticism. We're very much living in the gain, while at the same time of excitement about how much better it can be.
And I think that definitely translates to the guy's experience in a big way. Even if the process didn't change, obviously from the first one to this one, we move faster, more mules and all of that. But just the level of excellence I think that we can still bring to this is going to set this up, the next one, even better, make it even better.
And that's the thing too. I think the more advanced the guys are, like you were saying, that they had done a reset and they've been in a while after the reset, it just changes the dynamics of things. Because if they were fresh out of a reset, they're not there yet. They're not ready for it.
No, they're not ready. No. Who was it that said? I think it was Mark actually. Same with like heart surgeons. Like metaphoric heart surgeons with these guys, which I loved because the precision of a heart surgeon, right?
Yeah.
We were doing very precise work with these guys. Every one of them needed a little bit something different, but the precision was so key. And we're only able to get that level of precision because they've done the work that they've done with us already.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's the big difference between Alpha Reset and this one. The Alpha Reset just helps clear a lot of the stuff away so the guy can see what the real issues are, which he can then work on here. Because most of the guys here would never have dealt with the issues that dealt with here without having cleared a lot of the stuff through the Alpha Reset.
Yeah.
It propelled them along their journey. So now they can look at the real underlying issues and take them head on.
It's very different, right? Because as coming to the rising, there's not typically a fire that they need to put out in their life, right? It's coming out from a place of choice and excitement. Whereas a reset, typically there's a fire that they need to put out in their life.
Yeah.
They're new to the movement. They still have that fire, be it in the marriage or otherwise, and they've got to get a hold of it really quickly, and they've got to put it out. And the reset is that quick damage control. Like it does some great work to really clear the decks for the men and establish a really solid foundation, but it's a blitz. Right? We've got to go in, we've got to fix these things, and now we've got to fix them quickly.
Yeah.
And that's why the guys often say the shifts that they get in 4 days, they're shifts that they've been working years to try and get, right? But coming to the rising is a very different place to come from. Because so many of the guys in the podcast and the testimonials were saying, hey, things were really good. I was good.
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, where else can I go from here? I'm good. So to go into growth from that perspective is completely different from a reactive perspective.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I look at the reset like healing the past, and the rising is almost like your journey forward for the future. Like you're trying to find your path, right? Yeah. And I came in much the same, where I was like, I don't know, I guess I'm going to find my next step. That's what I was saying to myself. I'm going to find out my next step. I have no idea. And I found it, but I didn't, how would I know? I just thought I was going to go along and, I was doing pretty good coming into this, the rising when I did it. And man, I found it.
And that's the thing, like quite a few guys on this one came in and they were doing brilliantly, right? And you would say, well, there's nothing to so-called fix here.
Yeah.
But doing the work, what they uncovered,
right,
it was unreal, and stuff that they had to work on, but it wasn't visible to them. And what that means for them going back into their lives now is once again exciting, because they've dealt with stuff they didn't think they needed to deal with anymore. Other guys like coming in, I don't know, like you said, I don't know what my next step is. Life's good, I think I'm okay. And suddenly coming out of here with like a pretty much clear purpose or direction for those next steps. Because some guys think, like you said, like I've dealt with everything, I'm cool. Well, what's your next level? And there's always a next level. And how do you uncover that next level without doing the work? It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's like an awakening, and I think for the guys who are in the brotherhood, who there probably is a lot of them out there that think, oh, I don't really need that. I'm doing good right now. Well, you're going to cap yourself at doing good, or you do want to do better, right? And I don't think people realize that there's that untapped part, right? And you just got to peel that next layer off, and it's.
And the guys that choose to come to the Rising are probably the rarest men in the movement, because they're choosing to grow from a place of pleasure. They're already in a really good spot. And it's one thing choosing to invest in their own growth, right? Enjoying the movement. That already makes them rare. It's another thing to then invest in your growth for years and come to a reset, and that makes them even rarer, right? It's an even rarer thing to then come to the Rising and choose to invest several days out of your life when things in your life are really good.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've spoken to a lot of guys that are thinking about coming in. They're like, do you know what? I'm good. Spoken to a few guys that have said, you know what? Life's really good, but I'm not going to like good with the enemy of great.
Yeah.
I know there's even more for me. And they prioritize it. And that guy, that kind of guy, that's an incredibly rare person.
It's in Prague. One of the brothers was talking to him before he was going to go into a hot seat, and I said, well, we're going to talk about tomorrow. And he says, well, I don't know. My relationship's an 8 out of 10. He goes, so that's good. And I was like, I made a face at him, and he says, well, why are you making a face? I said, I'm just curious why you wouldn't want it to be better than that. And I think that's the point is that there's so many people out there that are like, everything's good, but if you're not a 10 out of 10, if you're saying you're an 8 out of 10, you got more growth. You have something else. Why are you sitting there in that and just thinking that's okay? I think we can all fall into that because it's just comfortable. It's like, oh yeah, everything's good and we're comfortable, and well, that's not me. I want more.
Me either. It's not me. And if I'm a 10 out of 10, then I'd probably argue that I'm playing too small.
Well, yeah.
I want to be expanding my vision.
You're 10 out of 10, maybe, you're 10 out of 20, or what could be a 20.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. I want to be chasing, right?
Yeah.
I want to be playing to win, because when I play to win, I feel the most alive. When I play to win, I'm the most energized, driven, excited, inspired, right? That's how I want to, for me, that's how I want to live. It's in alignment with how I see myself. It's in alignment with my values. And I think I see some guys get a little bit comfortable and complacent, and they begin to take their foot off the gas. And I get it. You don't need to go, redline. Well, I'm not talking about redlining at all, quite frankly. I'm talking about getting to a rhythm of growth, right? But some guys, they start playing not to lose. Yet it's been playing to win that has got them into this position of having great results in the first place. And then they just start to take their foot off the gas ever so slightly. And that's a very slippery slope.
Yeah.
Because over several years, as you continue to do that, the compounding effect of gradually, slowly taking your foot off the gas doesn't mean you always have to be finding something wrong. I mean, look at the guys coming to the Rising this week. They came into it with everything already been really good.
Yeah.
Yet they're also excited about what else might be possible.
Yeah, an interesting thing about what you're just saying, I had this thought in my mind. You take your foot off the gas, and then all of a sudden when you hit an incline, what happens? You're struggling, right? So when you take your foot off the gas, you think you're coasting and everything's good, and then the incline comes, you got a problem, right?
Yeah. I think as humans, we need to feel like we are making progress in all areas of our life. And progress isn't just taking action. Progress is actual making changes, right? Moving forward, as you say, expanding what we are capable of. And the only way you can do that is by not doing more, but going deeper. And this is what we talk about in the inner circle a lot. It's like, how do you go deeper so that you can show up more, and achieve more, but not the busy more, the authentic more.
Yeah.
One piece of advice you'd give a guy listening to this, he's been in the movement for a while. He knows his tattoo. He knows the Rising exists, but he's like, do you know what? I'm good. It's just going to be another alpha reset. It's going to be a revision of the alpha reset. I've done that, been there. I'm good. Maybe I'll go sometime in the future. What advice would you give him?
If you're a human being, there's always next levels to go to. Don't let what's the expression?
Good be the enemy of great.
Good be the enemy of great. And there's something even better out there for you if you prepare to do the work.
Yeah. I think you just got to go on yourself. I mean, there's people have routines and things that they do for themselves. This is something you're doing for yourself. That's a next level thing. And, you know, you just got to keep moving forward. I don't believe in sitting still. And I know the brothers in the brotherhood that I don't believe they believe in that either. So I think they just have to realize, all right, it's just another layer I'm peeling off. I got to go further and I got to go deeper and move up, you know, because it's just untapped potential, I think, you know?
It's exactly that.
I think the advice I'd give is, would you expect your business to continue to grow without investing in it? The answer is no, right? And the reality is you're never going to get more than you can handle. But if you can't handle very much because your capacity isn't big enough, be it for pleasure, joy, money, sex, whatever it may be, then you've got to increase that capacity. And the only way you're going to do that is by continuing to go deep on yourself. It's not about a mile wide, inch deep. It's about an inch wide, a mile deep. And there's depths within you that you can continue to go to and access. So much you don't know about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's exciting for me. Like, what more? What else is there? It doesn't come from a place of I'm broken, there's something wrong with me. It comes from a place of excitement of, holy crap, what else can I discover about myself and how good can life get? I think it's so easy for the guys to not view it in that way and think, okay, I'm good, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd never do that with the business.
No.
They'd never do it with the business. They'd keep on investing into it, focusing on it, and going and going and going. And I'd love them to apply just a little bit of that to themselves.
Yeah. And I think there's a piece of it that even though they've done the work and they think they're done with something like, oh, yeah, well, I already dealt with that. You'll find, well, there's a little more piece lingering in there and you have to re-deal with it like I found, you know? I said, wait, I thought it was over that. And no, that's why you have to keep moving forward. Right?
I agree. So, as we like to say here, guys, at a moment of insight, take massive action. We'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.